right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Soulful Feast, bite-sized information to nourish your body, mind, and spirit. I'm your host, Stephanie Zubiri, and I'm here today for a special live podcast session with Beacon at their Moms Speak Up event. Can we please have a round of applause from our audience? Yay, this is so exciting for me. It is my first time to do a live podcast episode, and I'm here today with the founder of Beacon, Kate Delos Reyes. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Steph. Thanks for doing this with us.
Absolutely. Content creator and mother of three, Cham Magsaysay.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me.
And this beautiful model, advocate, and mother of two, Katarina Rodrigez.
Hello, thank you for having me also.
And we will be joined in just a few moments by none other than Karen Davila, who has also been a guest on my podcast. But let's begin. So today's topic is really talking about maternal mental health. And frankly, I think one of the people in society that really has the most pressure is a new mother, actually all mothers, because we play so many roles. So we're here today with our esteemed panel to talk a little bit about their own maternal mental health journeys. So maybe we can start with you, Katerina. What would you think? Like, what was the most difficult moment for you? Or what plagues you today?
I've had a lot. So when Kate was going through the different types of tells for postpartum, nakacheck ko lahat, pretty much. So from the OCD, I would really get fixated on stuff, to the anxiety, which my anxiety is, every time I get sick or there's something off, I always think, is this cancer? Do I have cancer? Like, my brain goes that far.
Dr. Google is the worst, right?
Oh my gosh.
Everyone dies. Everyone dies when you Dr. Google.
Like, it's still now, actually. Like, just the other day, like, I had really bad anxiety kasi may mga parang malaking bumps sa likod ng tongue ko. And I was like, what is this? I was messaging my doctor. Alam mo yung feeling na parang sobrang lamig ka pero napapawis ka. That was me. Because I needed to talk to my doctor and he was probably with a patient and I just wanted to know, is this cancer? Could this be cancer?
Yeah,
What is this?
it's real anxiety, right?
It's real anxiety. And so I really think it's the anxiety that really affects me till now. But I also had like a situation where people, I think the closest people around me didn't understand. This was last year. My youngest, my daughter, she was just 6 months when this happened. They didn't understand that I'm a strong person. I come off as a strong person. But I was also a new mom, biglaan of two. I didn't go through the traditional process of getting engaged, of then planning a wedding, getting married, doing family planning. No, I was pregnant and then I had a husband. I've never been proposed to, but he cannot skip that. We will still have that. He knows this. But it was like,
Deserve mo yan, girl.
yes, I hope. I mean, I
Dapat
wake up.
Push present na malaki.
Yeah, two. He owes me two and an engagement and a wedding. But like, I wake up and I'm like, I look to my left, I look to my right. I'm like, who are these people? Who is this man? Whose children are these? Where am I? My life changed like that because I got pregnant during pandemic. And I do think I was a very strong woman before I had kids, but I'm also not. Like, I'm very soft now. I say that motherhood made me really soft. I cry at literally anything. But
And that's beautiful. It's beautiful to cry at everything. Hi, Karen, please join us. Yay! Thank you. Can we please have a round of applause for Karen Davila, who so generously came here after spending hours in traffic. How about you, Karen? Can we share a little bit about your own sort of maternal mental health or just mental health journey or issues that you might have struggled with?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so sorry for being late. I came from Cavite, actually, from a morning shoot. So I didn't want to miss this for Steph. And it's sad I wasn't able to hear your stories. You just started. So I have two kids. I'm turning 54 this year. So maybe my journey is a bit different from everybody else. I have two kids. My eldest is 22. He's in the autism spectrum. And my younger child is 16, both boys. I would like to say that I think there's no wrong and right answer to this, but my own experience is I was such a workaholic, and I don't want to be judged for this, but so my first child, when I was pregnant, I actually scheduled a cesarean section. I said I don't want to be judged, okay? because I was anchoring then the evening news, and I was very new in ABS-CBN, and I remember that I scheduled it on a weekend. I took a 2-week leave, and then I went back to doing the news after 2 weeks. So bloodied with gauze. But the point being was, I know that we mothers experience things differently, but I think all my life I've been working, so I didn't have much time to really go through periods of either self-pity or how do you say that, moments of self-reflection, which was also not very good, right? Because I told Steph in her podcast, I think I blamed myself that I may have missed David's signs that he had autism, because my life was just work, back home, work, back home. But I think overall, when we talk about mental health, if I could share being a working mother, I think number one, well, 1 in 5 mothers all over the world experience some sort of mood swing or anxiety after giving birth. And that's a hormonal change issue biologically. So more than psychological at first, it's the fact that your body has changed. And then from your regular mood swings, which first they call baby blues, right? So with baby blues, you feel you feel emotional, you feel sad sometimes, you feel irritable, you feel tired, and that's quite normal after giving birth. Then after a few months, some experience postpartum depression, which is quite different from baby blues. Postpartum depression, you feel more, an intense kind of grief and sadness.
Karen, did you experience that postpartum depression?
Honestly, no. That's why I.
Kasi parang you powered through it, no?
That's what I was trying to say. That's why I didn't want to.
No. But
Yes.
everyone goes through it differently. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in and say that. So when I gave birth to Seb, it was so funny. It was my first time to be on TV. It was Modern Living TV. I started the season 7 months pregnant, waddling around Metro Manila. I was supposed to tape on Monday, but I went into labor Friday, and then my producer's like, paano na Monday? Nasa hospital ako. And then 2 weeks later, I also went back to work. But it was like at that time, there was no such thing. We just bounced back. And the postpartum depression came after my second child. And when parang everything kind of came crashing down because I had the kids back to back. So it's not to say, diba, na parang everyone has a different journey, but those feelings sometimes get buried inside and they come out in other ways later on. Where are you now in your journey as a mom?
Well, I think when you say it comes out in other ways, I think that with me, I was short-tempered. I was irritable. I had a very short fuse at home. And I think it's also dangerous for your family, right? So I think looking back, that's sort of what happened to me.
Today, as a mother, where are you in your journey now? And as a woman, because can I make a note for us and for the audience, no? parang men don't necessarily always go through this because, when you were talking about the statistics in the office, parang there's no stick. Like men don't drop everything to go home to their kids. It's really us moms. I mean, and I think we should normalize, I'm here to say it, normalize equal parenting. Just because you're the breadwinner, parang sometimes work is more important. You should be able to call your partner or your spouse and say, ikaw naman pumunta sa principal, ikaw naman, 'di ba? We have to speak up also for that. Yes, would you like to share, Cham?
Yes, regarding dun sa most difficult moments I faced, siguro I had two. So first is yung nag-start ako when I transitioned to becoming a mom. So I think siguro for context, I became a mom at a very late stage in my life. I was like 34 years old. So feeling ko talaga ready na ako. Akala ko kasi matanda na ako, tapos I have a stable job. Pero yun pala, I was wrong. So yung transition ko from being working woman to becoming a working mom, parang it was so difficult for me. Kasi sanay ako na I work, I live alone and in my apartment, tapos I work for myself, diba? So parang nung nagkaroon ako ng baby, parang I had this responsibility of taking care of a tiny human being. So parang sobrang stressed ako noon. And then I remember, yung mga newborn stage pa lang nung eldest ko, I cry almost every day. Sunset, as in, aalala ko, pag sunset na, naiiyak na ako. Kasi I know, pag sunset na, maggagabi na. And then, alam ko, ako lang mag-isa na naman sa gabi with my daughter. Tapos, kasi nag-commit din ako into breastfeeding. So, wala naman tutulong sa akin. So, direct latch siya. So, for 3 months, I cried. I cried every day kapag sunset. And then, iba naman din yung nangyari kasi di ba we have, maternity leave. So, when I came back to work, parang iba rin, nag-shift din ako ng priorities. Na parang all of a sudden, ayoko na magtrabaho. Parang gusto ko na lang magstay sa bahay to take care of my child. Pero I cannot not work because I also need to earn. I mean, for my child. So parang sobrang struggle ako every day. And then, sadly, ang nangyari pa sa akin, I'm pala an executive producer in ABS-CBN. Yes,
In entertainment?
Yes, entertainment.
Which show?
Assigned ako sa mga non-narrative shows. So,
Okay.
PBB, if you're familiar with
Of
Pinoy Big
course.
Brother. So, that time, imagine ninyo, my daughter was just 3 months old nung bumalik ako sa work. And then, inassign pa ako sa 24/7 operation. And then, I
Oh my
remember, nakaka-uwi kami after airing eh. So, that's 11 p.m. Imagine ninyo, umuwi ako 11 p.m. Usually kasi kapag 24/7 siya, kapag ako yung assigned sa house, may ganun eh, shifting siya, nakaka-uwi na ako ng 1, 2, 3, minsan 4 a.m. sa bahay. And then, sobrang source siya ng away namin ng husband ko. Because, of course, may yaya, pero hindi naman namin siya pinapagstay late at night. Kasi siya talaga yung nagbabantay ng kid in the morning. So, kami talaga ng husband ko yon. And then, naging source siya ng away namin. And in that time, hindi ko alam kung ano ba talagang dapat kong gawin. Kasi, I want to work. Kasi yung mga colleagues ko rin in ABS, hindi naman lahat kasi moms. So, it's very hard for them to understand my situation. So, ang hirap. Sobrang struggle ko every single day. Nagsa-struggle talaga ako going to work and leaving my child, my daughter. So, yeah. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression. And then, kasi every day, sobrang struggle. Imagine niyo that time pa, wala akong Pasko. Kasi operation ng PBB ng Pasko. And
my God.
that time, it was my first...
It's the same for the news.
Yes.
I mean, I just wanted to say the problem really is also a shift in the culture.
Correct.
In ABS-CBN and television, I think in general, maybe put it to 15 years ago to 20 years ago, you can't use your motherhood as an excuse. They won't allow that. It's like, oh, I need you to cut me some slack. I gave birth. There was nothing like that before. Today, to be honest, it is frowned upon if companies don't give mothers their rights. But there's so many who have come before. You cannot use that excuse. They'd even replace you if you took too many leaves. Oh my.
Isn't
They'll
it
say,
awful?
well, I want to say women empowerment is frankly a journey. There was a period women couldn't vote. I mean, if we keep complaining, right, we can't because women's rights is a constant journey.
Well, it's also institutional change,
Exactly.
right?
That's what I was gonna say.
You look at countries like Sweden, Scandinavia, benchmark, 2 years maternity leave, even paternity leave, right?
But then companies will close down here if you do
Yes,
that.
correct. And I mean, obviously we can't compare because it is a very developed country versus our country, but there should be institutionalized support for parents in general because it's not just mothers, although it's obviously harder on us because of the physical demand, but also there are single fathers out there. There are solo parents out there that are also men. Or what about, LGBTQ communities who decide to adopt as well, or right? So there needs to be support for parents because at the end of the day, the children are the backbone of our society. If we don't get to parent them properly, who will, right? So having that change. Karen, I am mindful of your schedule. Would you
I'm
like
just
to
curious
share?
what kind of help you had
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
You're still in
actually,
ABS.
Yes, I'm
See,
still
she
in
didn't quit.
ABS.
Galing talaga ng babae, no? May stay. Can we have a round of applause for
No, actually, my husband and I were talking about it na parang, anong gagawin natin? Kasi hindi ko na talaga, anxiety levels na ako. So, buti na lang, I had a friend also who just gave birth. And then, sabi niya sa akin, in fairness naman sa ABS, parang meron siyang benefit na, meron siyang free, parang mental aid for employees. So, yun yung ginawa ko. I went to a life coach. I think I had 3 sessions. And then, sobrang yun yung nag-decide sa akin na kung ano yung right decision. Because I'm afraid to talk to my friends. Kasi most of my friends in ABS, they are not moms. So I don't think they will understand. So I think para sa akin yun talaga yung nangyari na nag-decide ako na I talked to my boss na I don't want to quit. I don't want to resign in ABS. So parang sabi ko, I don't think I can do a 24/7 job na wala pang 1-year-old yung anak ko.
I learned something really interesting, that the gender pay gap is not an institutionalized thing. It's because women don't feel like they deserve what they really deserve, so they don't ask for more. Whereas men is the opposite. They really ask and overplay themselves, so they get more. But we have to advocate for ourselves. Now, I want to hear from Kat about, you're in a very public space, and we were having a discussion about how that can also infiltrate your mental health, and people having to say stuff about you, which is similar because we all go through that, whether that's on social media or within our circle, and the judgment we get from friends, from family. Like, how did you deal with a recent incident? Can you share?
So I was sharing with them earlier that so ever since I became a mom, especially to my daughter, I've felt so confident with my body. And some of you, if you've followed me before, I'm always in a bikini by a coconut tree. I don't know what I was thinking, but that time I had a lot of insecurities somehow, and now I'm always clothed. But I am so much more confident in my body, and I don't like to wear bras because I am still breastfeeding and free the boobie, right? And I recently attended the 60th Binibining Pilipinas coronation, and I wore a really beautiful white dress. I was wearing nipple tape, but there is a lot of side boob, and that the video of my red carpet, it went viral, and I was like, oh wow, this is a surprise. I'm glad everyone liked the outfit. But when I read the comments, I was shocked because there were a lot of bashers, and I thought these were going to be coming from the pageant fans because pageant fans are brutal, right? No, when I was clicking to check, sino ba yung mga tao nito? They were moms. And the comments I was getting was, nagpapadede ako sa mga anak ko 4 na taon, hindi ganun kalawlaw yung dede ko. And I'm like, oh, I was so confused, and I never really rant on my social media, but I did share that specific that whole situation. In fact, it was the pageant fans who were defending me. And I was just really shocked. I couldn't understand why are all of these moms commenting such harsh things as fellow mothers. And luckily, when I shared it, I got feedback from other moms who were telling me, you triggered them. And I had to sit for 3 days to try and process how, what did I do? I just attended an event. I didn't even post that videos. It was Binibini who posted it. I really couldn't wrap my mind around it till these moms had to explain to me, like, you triggered something. And I realized that everybody has their own journey.
Yes.
And they're going
I
through
always
their
say
own...
that KKJ, kanya-kanyang journey, because like we spoke earlier, that our what people do to us is actually in spite of us, right? So at the end of the day, what I've learned is that people are just going through their journey, and sometimes you become collateral damage, and vice versa. So the most important thing is you focus on yourself, because the better person you become, the less collateral damage you have. And if everyone is just focusing on their own journey, right? Because they're not really doing it to you, it's just a reflection of how they feel inside. And a lot of people don't have that self-reflection, or the space to really deal with their issues. Nagiging galit, right? Nagiging, when you feel lonely, when you have grief, it becomes anger, right? Go ahead, Karen.
I was going to say, I think I've advocated this for so long when I speak what you experience, Kat. I think we also should reflect as women, because women are really harshest on each other. Men aren't as cruel to women as women are to each other. I'll be honest with you. It's really women who put other women down.
This is so true.
It's
and
really
so sad.
that. It's very sad. Like that particular moment of Kat, no, that shot. In effect, they were making a judgment about her, right? They were trying to tell you didn't deserve to be there because you're a breastfeeding woman. And who did that? Women. A man won't take the time, right?
Absolutely.
So I think we also have to ask ourselves, how do we treat each other online?
It's also a lot of, just in general, embracing kindness and compassion. Because if you notice, happy people don't tear down other people. People who are at peace with themselves, have compassion for themselves, don't tear down other people. Therefore, it is so important, this advocacy of Beacon, because it really advocates for taking care of yourself first. I want to shift the conversation a little bit to the martyr syndrome that we have in the Philippines. Parang a woman's most valuable when she's a martyr for her family. I would like to say I don't believe in that. Carl Jung said that there's no greater burden on a child than the unlived life of a parent, because then you just obsessed over your child, and then when they leave you, like, break down. So you have to be a whole happy person to be a good mother, a good parent, and a good person. You owe it to yourself. Have you guys had that experience na parang people will tell you have to be martyr, or feeling pressured to be martyr?
Ako, I remember, yes, meron. Yung yung time na after my eldest kasi, I had the miscarriage. And then that's the time na pandemic. And then, as we all know, di ba, si ABS na wala ng franchise. And then, me and my husband were lucky kami yung hindi na-retrench. So, alam mo yung parang meron kang responsibility with the company na gusto mo silang tulungan. So, when I got pregnant, sinikret ko siya sa lahat. I mean, my family lang, close family lang yung nakaalam. And then that time naman, kasi di ba hindi na ako producer, I was, handler na. Ng girl group. Girl group yung hinahandle ko. Pero yes, parang at one point, I handled them nung start. And then, so, nung time na yun, syempre, nag-shoot ka ng music videos, tapos late na kami hindi, I felt na ayoko sabihin kasi ayoko din naman mag-worry sa akin yung mga boss ko. Actually, it was my fault. Kasi, yun nga, martyr. Kasi ayoko ngang isipin nila na burden ako sa company. So, yun yung time na nagka-miscarriage ako. So yeah. Actually, yun din yung reason. Siguro, hindi ako nag-go through the right grieving process, the one I was telling you about na. Kasi after miscarriage, parang feeling ko, ayokong mag-stop sa work. So, I moved on, nagtrabaho na ako agad, sabi nung pwede na I can start, ng OB na I can start working. And then, there's one instance, parang after a few months, nagtataka ako, bakit parang dun sa part na nag-bleed ako, dun sa part na sa bathroom namin, all of a sudden, lagi akong umiiyak. As in, hagulgol levels. Tapos parang feel ko, baliw-baliw na ako. But kaya ganito yung feeling ko. As in, every day, every night, gabi yun eh. Parang nagtataka ako, ba't ako umiiyak? Hindi ko alam. Parang, yun nga, parang feeling ko, naloloka na ako. Tapos yun nga, yung good thing din, na parang nag-offer ulit si ABS nun ng expert to talk to us via Zoom. And then, nung kinakwento ko na yung experience ko, ang sabi sa akin nung psychologist na, alam mo, the reason why you're like that is because hindi ka nag-go through ng right grieving process. So, parang miscarriage is still child loss. So, dapat nag-undergo ka. Feel mo yung pain. And then, in fairness naman, nakatulong naman sa akin yung sessions na yun. I had 3 sessions. And then, meron siyang mga binigay na tips sa akin. And then, after that, you know what? I'm okay na. Tapos yun nga, nagkaroon na ako ng twin babies.
Oh, rainbow babies!
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I have
so
seen
Cham, parang I want to highlight to the audience that allowing ourselves to not be okay. Because it's so important.
Correct.
Kasi otherwise, we will break down. Diba? So parang I really advocate na yung even if you're, so I'll share lang ng konti for the audience, no? In 2018, my marriage was super on the rocks. We were trying to build a house. Buon na buon kami sa utang. Ako lang nagbabayad lahat. And I was going through severe postpartum depression. And I was bleeding internally for 3 months. And they didn't know why. And it really manifests physically. And then eventually my ex and I, we split up. And then it became pandemic. And then I found out that my son had autism. So being a single mom during the pandemic and finding out that my youngest was on the autism spectrum, and parang, wow, my world really crumbled. And even before that, I was already having thoughts of suicide, really. And and it's because I kept parang powering through and smiling. So yung Instagram ko, puro happy. But inside, I was just wow, like literally bleeding, dying inside. And I had nowhere to turn. And it was so difficult to be alone. And it's so important to talk and to allow those feelings to really feel them so that you can process and release. Kasi energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So emotions really come in and they need to have a flow out. Otherwise, if you keep that anger, grief, sadness, it will kill you, literally. So it's so wonderful that you allowed yourself to have that. And I also sought professional help. Kasi, yun, let's not be ashamed to ask for professional help because they know what to ask you and they know how to, talk to you, and they're a personal cheerleader. That's how I see it. Walang parang vested interest, no? Because if it's your parent or my mom nga, go back together with him, like, oh my God, like, diba? Like they have people that you're close to that love you. They have an idea of how they want your life to look like, right? And so maybe Kate, can you share about professional help
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that because while I was in the process of putting up Beacon, I was interviewing psychologists, and that was also when I learned about the. And Jmar, please correct me if I'm wrong. Jmar is one of our psychologists at Beacon. Your psychologists are not allowed to have dual or multiple relationships. Meaning, if I am a psychologist, a therapist, and you are my friend, I cannot be your therapist. Unlike pag sa doctor, di ba? Doc, friend, libre consultation, di ba? Not for therapists because they cannot be biased. So when you speak with a therapist, it's really a clean slate. They know nothing about you and they should not know anything about you. In fact, I was telling my therapist, would it be a conflict of interest if I invite you to this event? Sabi niya, yes, it might be. Sabi ko, sige, I'll just update you during our session. And that is actually a safety net for us, right? It's good to know it's good to have someone who actually knows what you tell them about yourself and not you get context from everyone else.
I think I'm convinced. I think I need a therapist. So I told Kate I really was very open to doing this because I don't really have anyone to talk to. A lot of my friends they don't have kids or they're newly engaged. And my mom friends, when I see them, it's quite fast and it's during events and we just talk about the kids, like how they're doing, what school they're going to. And last, I was sharing earlier before we started, last year, I was 6 months after giving birth to my daughter. I also thought I was going crazy because there was a person in my life who I can't really avoid her. And she wasn't replying to my messages and I was getting really annoyed. I was like, why isn't she responding? I was showing signs of OCD. I was so fixated on her never replying to me. And this whole thing escalated. There were a lot of issues that she was going through. She does have a child, but the child is older. And her and I pretty much fought. We fought without speaking. It became very awkward when we were with the people that connected us. And it hurt me because she became a really good friend. Okay, I don't want to cry, but it's hard not. But she was like a sister. She helped me through my pregnancy when I gave birth. And this is really probably the first time I'm speaking about it like this because all the other times when I shared to my friends, naiinis ako sa kanya. But her and I are okay now. But what hurt me the most was when this happened because everybody thought I'm such a strong, or they think I'm such a strong person. I think a lot of them sided with her because she was just, I guess, so much more feminine, already a mother. Oh no, my makeup. But she,
Maganda pa rin, promise.
what hurt me the most was nobody thought, oh no, Katya just gave birth. Maybe she's experiencing postpartum. They were like, why is she acting like this? Why is she being like this? Why is she like this? And they expected more from me and they empathized so much with her until one day when I thought I was going crazy, I sat there, thank you. And I thought, I'm not crazy. I told them I just gave birth twice in the span of 2 years. Like, do you guys have no compassion for me for what I'm going through? I'm trying to go back to work because I also want to contribute financially. My life changed overnight, and the person who I looked to during a time of all this change, even if she was new to me then, I couldn't speak to her. I couldn't reach her. I didn't know what was wrong. There was a misunderstanding, a really stupid misunderstanding that you mentioned earlier during the survey. Some people checked this off. I'm not going to share it because I know this is public, but it was really dumb. And when her and I sat down and she was telling me, this is all the things I'm going through, she enumerated it. And I was like, I'm going through things too. And if you should know this more than anyone, I just gave birth. Do you not think that maybe I'm experiencing some sort of postpartum because I know I'm not crazy, right? And she kind of she became softer towards me, but um I still feel like I'm crazy when I talk about it. Talking
But you
about it
know
now, I
what?
feel like it's not that big of a deal, but it
No,
is also.
it is.
And
We do go crazy. Like
the reactions
I
that
need
you
you to
have.
like have compassion for yourself because our hormones literally do make us
Can I
crazy.
just
They
share
really do.
too, Steph? When
It's
you
true.
said it manifests physically, during this same time, I had a checkup with my OB, did the pap smear that you're supposed to do after giving birth, and the results came out, and this triggered my health anxiety. I changed OBs. I love her, but she just gave me so much anxiety. There was a squamous cell found in my cervix. It's benign, so it's not active, but now I'm always like, am I gonna get sick? Am I gonna die of this? Like, and I need to do the pap smear again. It's been almost over a year, and I'm so scared. I'm literally scheduling my appointment with my OB before coming here. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I could feel that anxiety coming out, and I felt that maybe it went away because my issues with my friend that went away. I've done acupuncture. I've seen a Korean doctor,
All
a
of it.
traditional Chinese doctor in Binondo. That it takes half a day to see that guy. It's a trip. I've done so many things. I see a monk, a Tibetan monk. I'm not kidding. Like I do all the things. All ice bath, sauna, you name it. I'm there, and
I'm like you.
I'm
Lahat,
hoping
lahat
like
na.
Therapy na lang yung kulang.
yes, the therapy is the one I'm missing.
So, honestly, it's really integrated, right? So, I'll say I was exactly like you. I did everything holistic, alternative, and then like even like physical, lahat. I did the same acupuncture, iron therapy. The mind was the missing link. You could attack your body in a good way, like physically, then even doing, I did theta healing. I'm actually a Reiki practitioner. Lahat-lahat na. As in, light healing, angel healing, all of it, ghost busting, all. Um, pull out those hooks, yun naman yan. But at the end, the key was I went to a Jungian psychologist. So there's a difference between psychiatrist and psychologist. I went to a Jungian psychologist who is now my professor. So I'm actually taking also depth psychology because I find it is the missing link in integrating all our healing process. And I need you to have compassion for yourself because one, the physical aspects of our hormonal body really makes us crazy. Who here in this room, when they have that we all have that one period day where your skin is crawling and you don't care if your kid is cute or whatever, you hate everyone. Everyone, kids included. Di ba? As in, parang like rage. It's rage. We have it. The other day, I said, I have rage, and I got a wooden spoon, and I told my partner, Scott, I was like, excuse me while I smash the spoon. And it just smashed on the kitchen because I had rage. And we do get crazy. So we really have to be self aware. So please congratulate yourself for being proactive because that's the first step in the journey. Um, shall we say a few last words from everyone, like a key message from everyone? Because I feel like we've covered a lot of time. I mean, we could talk for so much more. I need another one-on-one with everyone to come back on the podcast. But maybe in the interest of sort of wrapping things up, Kat, would you like to start?
I'm still like, wow, did I just cry?
It's okay.
But
We're women. We cry.
I do think that we all have our own journey and try all the things. Whatever is gonna help you, if it's a monk, a Korean doctor, a therapist, a tree, like just go do it, do the thing. I still go through a lot. I know I project as a strong person, and I know I'm expected to be strong because I have always been that way. But I have so much anxiety. If you see me talking about stuff nonstop, it's probably the anxiety. thank God none of you guys are my doctor because he doesn't hear the end of it. Um, but I do think talking about it with a professional is the best thing to do. I need to do that. And there's just so much. I thought it was over the situation I shared. Apparently not, because talking about it today, a lot of just a lot came out. So I think a professional is what I need, what we all need.
And
Yeah,
also self love, honey.
yeah,
You are
self-love.
allowed to be crazy because we are beautiful, wild women who have emotions and feelings. And well, who said we had to be robots, right? We're not robots, so it's okay. We can cry, we can be angry, we can go crazy. It's fine. It's okay.
Yes, for me, naman. Yes, for me, it's important that you seek help. So, and then to not be afraid to share your story, and also do the things that you love to do. So prioritize yourself. Kasi like ako, I enjoy content creation a lot. And then I enjoy, creating content for my family. So bonus na lang din na sometimes I get, paid for that. Pero yun lang, you seek help. That's my tip.
Ako na muna siya yung Beacon founder. Diba? Okay. So, these are such powerful stories. So, I think I'll say something a little more practical. Okay? Not everybody has the time for an ice bath. Not everybody can afford to go to expensive healers. And I'm going to be practical here. It takes a village to raise a child, right? That's an African proverb. And I'll be honest with you, we are lucky in this country that we have help. Imagine in other countries, they cannot afford a yaya. That's one. That's number one. Our grandmothers, my mother helped me in raising my children. There is nothing wrong with that. Try that. When we say seek help, first admit that you need help. Number one, not just mentally, but with the work you need to do. That's number one. Number two, there's a saying, pain is not a bad thing. It is not. It is what develops you to become a stronger woman. Survival requires grit. Grit can only be developed when you are going through hard times. It is how gold is formed. When you're a mother, one part of your leg is already in the grave. You know that, right? And why don't men experience that? Because they're not giving birth. Two. Number three, and I'll be honest about this, seeking professional help is the right thing to do. But exploring and prioritizing on a spiritual life is what really matters. Whatever your faith may be, you have to admit that you need someone stronger than yourself. Number four, I do agree with what Steph said, to speak up and tell our partners, it's your time to go to the principal, it's your time for this. But what about single parents, right? What do you do? Medyo this is a bit extreme on my end, so I don't have to be the role model in this room. There's a saying I love that goes like this, which is very antithesis of what young kids or the Gen Zs do today. This is an old Buddhist saying. Don't think less of yourself, but think about yourself less. So I'll end it there.
I'll piggyback off of what Karen said, which is the value of speaking up is two-pronged. The first is it allows you to express yourself. And second, in that expression, you're actually also helping others. So with your story, Kat, with your story, Cham, Karen, Steph, we are all helping other moms without us knowing, diba? Our intention is to really just, I want to say something. But in the process of doing that, we are connecting with others who are in a similar situation as ours. So, and in our society, sometimes speaking up or being outspoken is frowned upon. I've known that for years, being an outspoken person myself. But I highly encourage you to just try and express how you really feel and embrace your emotions, however difficult they may be. And again, it will help not just yourself, but also the people around you.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. I just wanted to share with everybody out here to wrap up this live podcast session and this beautiful, beautiful panel. I want to encourage you guys out there and in this room to take up space. And it's what I tell a lot of people in my workshops and people I work with. Take up space. Don't make yourself small. Because just by existing, we think that we have to be productive to take up space. No, just by existing, you are valuable. And by taking up space energetically, you shift the energy around you. It means you deserve more, you ask for better, and you can do more because you are abundant and you are expansive, and the only thing limiting you is yourself and the narrative you tell yourself. So even just for today, which is how I always end my podcast, the one thing you guys can do for yourself today is to take up space, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and say, this is my time for me in this universe. I am going to have a coffee. I'm going to speak up. I am going to take up space for myself. It's a declaration to the universe that you are valuable and you deserve to take up space. So thank you again for watching this wonderful podcast. Thank you to our amazing panels. Thank you so much to this wonderful audience as well. This has been Soulful Feast, bite-sized information to nourish your body, mind, and spirit in partnership with Beacon Moms Speak Up. I'm your host, Stephanie Zubiri, and I wish you guys a wonderful afternoon. Don't forget, take up space.